Well, then recording is started up, and then it'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Okay.
First thing I would say is that we probably don't want to be setting up here to start out. So, generally on Sombra, you want to be setting your translocators up so that you're going into the fight, translocating out, and then getting back into the fight, getting healed up and getting back into the fight as soon as possible.
Okay.
One of like a couple things to think through when you're placing your translocator spots and trying to look for somewhere where you can kind of set your translocator up in your kind of cycle is firstly, how close is it to the fight? Um, how close would you say like this is where you like this translocator is if like the fight's starting out around like this bend over here?
Mhm.
Really far, right? It's not close at
Yeah.
all, right? You're gonna have to place another one. You're gonna have to run all the way back over here. It's just gonna take you a long time, so that's a lot of downtime. The more time you're spending out of the fight, the less
Mhm.
not buy a health pack. Another thing that can be fantastic up, like if you place it on top of the health pack, you teleport back, you're pretty much instantly back to full HP, and then you're able to just run back into the fight once again, eliminating downtime, so you're able to just do more.
Mhm.
Because note how this is much closer to the fight to where especially for this first portion, this first bit, we're going to be able to teleport back and then pretty much just be able to run back into the fight within like 5 seconds or so. Like it's much faster. This is also just going to give us a high ground, which you don't need to go in depth on now, but high ground's fantastic. This is a mega health pack, so we get healed up instantaneously, and it's also out of the way enough to where you're probably not going to get a lot of congestion.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's probably the spot I would go to begin here. This health pack over here or this health pack over here might be your, like kind of new spot to set up with, because if the fight's now happening right here, translocating up over here is now very far out of the way because then you have to run all the way back around, right? Which is going to take forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the first thing I noticed.
Ready for battle. Attackers incoming.
Okay.
Stop the payload.
System compromised.
Did I scare you?
All right. So, they're probably just start shooting at whoever you hack right away. There's no reason to hack and then just kind of sit back, unless there's the rare occasion that you're hacking somebody out of an ability or ultimate. Right now, because hack's duration, I think is like 1.75 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. They're
Mhm.
not actually hacked out of their abilities or anything like that for a long period of time, and the primary value you're getting out of it is the fact that you're doing 40% extra damage. You're doing a lot of extra damage. So usually you're gonna want to hack and just immediately after you're done hacking, you're coming out of invis and shooting at them. And you can kind of combo that together so that you're just not if you hack and then you wait, then that's just kind of alerting them to your position, and you're actually probably gonna be able to get less damage in. So I would just start shooting right away as soon as you hack them in most cases. Yeah, so notice that now that like we get out, we have to run and grab a new health pack. Okay, that this one's better than the other one, though this might be a little bit easier to get to on their end. It's not on the high ground, and also maybe still like I would say those are the two main things. No high ground, a little bit easier to get to, and then maybe the duration to get back to the fight is about the same.
Better. You're mine now.
Okay.
And I'm back. Gotta go. No vaya
Yep.
a ser que
So
lo
just
necesite todo listo por
when
aquí.
you're hacking something, usually you're going to want to be hacking the thing that you're shooting at because that's the primary value you're getting out of it. So it's not like old hack where you're getting the primary value is out of canceling abilities. So Orisa, would have been a fantastic character to in Overwatch 1. Now, if you're not shooting at Orisa, there's no reason to be hacking Orisa. So make sure we're just hacking who we're shooting at primarily here. So like once again, looks like we're hacking her. So there we go. Now we're shooting at her. Okay. Let's talk over target priority here because I'm already noticing that we're kind of coming into these fights and the past 2 engagements at least. The first thing we're looking at is Orisa. Target priority. There's kind of 2 main things to think through with target priority. One is going to be who is the easiest to kill. 2 is going to be who is the highest value to kill. Who is the most dangerous in terms of burst potential. So let's start off with that second one, burst potential. But this is not to say that any one role DPS tank supports any one role is better than the other role, but it is to say that certain roles have the potential to pop off and get value if kind of left
Mhm.
unchecked really fast. So I would say usually tanks have the highest burst potential. They are kind of the 2-in-1 characters. So not only do they have DPS and damage and DPS and kills that can rival the actual damage characters, but on top of that, they also provide tanking, and they have really powerful ultimates. So a lot of times tanks are high value targets to kill. And sorry, not but nextly would probably come DPS because you could have a Widowmaker Sojourn pop off and hit 3 headshots, and that's immediate value, burst potential value. Whereas the supports I'd probably say are still pretty close to DPS here. This is not a super wide distance between these. They are pretty close, but supports kind of come in the third position, getting a lot more value out of the consistent sustain, and then their abilities, which sometimes can be high impact in the game, but not in terms of danger. Not every ability. A lot of the abilities that they use are high impact in once again sustaining the fight, not necessarily always bursting you or your team down, which is once again in terms of like burst danger value. Um, so for like that's the first half of that. It goes tank, DPS support. Does that kind of make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, second half of this is probably the even more important part, so I'd even focus on this a little bit more, is what is the easiest to shoot at? If you had to rank easiest to hardest out of just the roles, don't worry about the individuals, because it differs a little bit on the individual basis, individual characters, but role-wise, what's the easiest role to what's the hardest role?
Mhm. Okay. Um, the easiest would probably be support,
Okay.
right? To shoot at, yeah. But as you said, that isn't like compared to like pop off potential out
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
the 3. So but I don't know. I think that supports like help their team out a lot. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I would be maybe a Lucio would be kind of good to hack.
Hmm. So right now we're talking more about like who's best to try to kill is kind of what we're aiming
Okay.
at. Target priority,
Or
who should we
kill.
be looking to kill? Not necessarily just hack. Um,
Okay.
so easiest. Firstly, let's start off with hardest. Maybe I should have asked this in the opposite order, but hardest to kill is tanks. Tanks, that is by nature what they are designed to do. They have 2 to 3 times the health of other characters. They have armor. They have tanking abilities and shields. They are the easiest characters to heal. Overall, tanks are super hard to kill and therefore will not die very easily. So, though they are the highest value, targets to kill, you're probably also not going to be killing them very often. And that's not to say that you never shoot at hard things to kill. You can shoot at them if they're low, out of position, if you have the opportunity to kill them, or if you don't really have any other options. Feel free, like if Arissa's the only one left alive, go ahead, shoot at her. Or if she's in your face, go ahead and shoot at her. But if you have options to easily, like for example, if you're in Viz and you can just run around Arissa, well, then there's no reason why we should be coming in every single fight and making Arissa the first person that we're shooting at. Number two, I would say hardest things to kill. I would say actually supports generally are harder to kill than DPS. They just added the new role passive for supports that they now have passive healing, which DPS do not have. On top of that, for supports, they added Kiriko, with Kiriko being the most survivable support in probably in the game, with easy escape options. Mercy now has more movement than before. Adding in because of the self-healing, now all of these supports do extra like the extra healing. So Lucio and Moira are gonna have extra survivability because of their
Mhm.
self-healing that stacks with it. Overall, generally speaking, they are the second hardest, and then there comes DPS. But of course, there's exceptions between, especially those last two. They're a little bit more interchangeable. So you, for example, Sombra is gonna be much harder to kill than like Zenyatta, right?
Mhm.
So therefore, I would say that your rough priority list should look at something like this, where DPS, every single fight that you come into, DPS are usually the biggest priorities, then followed very closely by supports. It's kind of just going to be which ones do you have the opportunity to kill. Maybe if the DPS is being pocketed by a Mercy, they're no longer easy to kill, right?
Mhm.
And then finally comes tank, pretty much, like I said, not being the thing you want to be shooting at unless you have the opportunity, or it's just not an option. Does all of that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, so here we're coming in to these fights, and the first thing that we're shooting at is the tank, which just means that we're not really going to be getting effective kills as easily. Okay. Ooh, almost nice kill. We get the hack on, we shoot a Mercy, we melee like half a second early, and then that maybe stops us from being able to finish off the kill.
Enemy here.
Here, a little bit more of a minor point, but just make sure that you're throwing, I would throw the translocator on top of the health pack so that you are instantly being healed up, unless you are fearing that they're gonna come and try to find it, in which case that that would be better, because then they don't see it when they turn, they have to walk in and look to the right. So it kind of depends. Right now, I don't think that you're really under a ton of pressure. That it doesn't look like they're looking for it, so you'd be probably better if you plop it on the health pack rather than next to the health pack. Just very minor efficiency thing.
Okay.
Okay. There you can that is something you can hack Orisa out of potentially, as an option. Okay, I like that's right there what you just did. That's great. I like how fast we were about that, and kind of we're instantly running back into the fight. So that's good. That shows that you have a decent awareness that you just want to be in the fight as often as possible. Okay. So first, let's talk 2 points here. So firstly, whenever you're coming into a fight, the longer you're able to stay there, the better, because the more elims damage potential you have. So you don't want to immediately be forced out. So one way to be doing this is by using cover. Maybe we can go more in depth on cover in a second, but something as simple as this, where notice the difference between this, where if we're shooting at Mercy from here, Soldier and Junkrat can see us. Now if we're shooting at Mercy from here, Soldier and Junkrat cannot see us. Right? So that's the usage of cover, standing next to and behind cover. Like I said, we can go more in depth on that if we need to in a little bit. But for now, I would say just look to use that. Good kill we're landing
Amateurs.
shots, but your aim does seem a little bit jittery. Do you know what your sensitivity and DPI are at?
Yeah, I just changed that
Mhm.
today, actually. Um, my DPI used to be at 2400,
Oh, that's very high. Okay.
and my sense used to be at 6.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely go that I definitely would have recommended. What's it currently? I guess let's go off of the current one.
Um, so my current one is I just kept the same thing but knocked my sense down to
Mhm.
4.
Okay, so
So,
2400
uh-huh.
times 4, which is your combined your EDPI.
Mhm.
That is a EDPI of
Yeah.
9600. Um, do you Okay, so I guess I'll go on this first point. So, essentially, that is what you would consider a high sensitivity.
Mhm.
Um, uh, low sensitivity. So, like, low sensitivity is probably like, zero. Obviously, no one's gonna have a sensitivity of zero, but it'd be 0 to like 5,000 ish. Then
Mhm.
medium is maybe like 5,000 to 9,000. And then high is like 9,000 plus, essentially, roughly,
Mhm.
very, very roughly speaking. That's just approximate
Uh-huh.
numbers in terms of EDPI. Now, this is a high sensitivity, and generally the gaming community is in a consensus that you're going to have more precision for characters that require headshots and tracking and
Mhm.
etc. The lower your sensitivity goes, it gives you more control over it. It's also will hopefully make you less jittery, which can firstly help you with more awareness because you can see what's going on. It's less all over the place. Your screen's less all over the place. It's a little bit smoother. Also, that can maybe just help you in terms of um, keeping on target and
Mhm.
aiming. Now that's not a end all be all. There are
Mhm.
professional players and high level players who do have high sensitivities, such as ML7, though he is playing a character that doesn't use headshots. And then
Mhm.
also there is, sorry, apologies. Sorry, apologies, little sibling. Um,
Oh,
so,
okay.
so there's ML7, and there's also like Pine. With
Mhm.
I don't know if he's currently in Overwatch League, but old Overwatch League player who
Yeah,
he played
I know.
DPS. Yeah.
He's kinda
So
cool.
yeah, so there are exceptions, but generally that's the consensus.
Mhm.
So
I
it.
think
Go ahead.
I messed up. I actually have 1600.
Okay,
Um, yeah,
that's a little bit better then. So 1600 times 4.
that's what I changed. Yeah.
4. Yeah, okay, so that's more of like a medium. Still, I'd
Mhm.
say it's still the same. It's not as
Yeah.
bad, but I'd still say the same concept applies. That would be just for reference. That would be a little under 2 times my sensitivity. And
Mhm.
my sensitivity is not the end all be all. But that just means that like when I do one 360, you do two 360s. Which just goes to show how that is a lot of extra movement that can sometimes be a little bit hard to control.
Mhm.
So therefore, might recommend trying it out on lower, maybe fiddle with it. Don't expect it to
Mhm.
feel fantastic on day one. It may
Yeah.
not. Um,
Uh,
mhm.
I've like I used to be like a hardcore diva main.
Yep.
I have a lot of hours on her. But I used to have a super 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 low sense.
Hmm.
Um, like right now I have like a huge mouse pad because of it.
Yep.
Because I used to like have to move my entire arm,
Yeah.
and I've had like all the different types of sensitivities. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be a little bit
Mhm.
easier for me to, swap down and everything, so I won't have
Mhm.
any issue with that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, the just the I would say you don't want to have it so low that turning is difficult. At a
Okay.
minimum, with your generally used mouse space. So if your mouse pad is like your whole desk, set a space that you want to be using with it. Take your mouse on the and put it on the all the way left side of it, drag it to the all the way right side of it, and that should be at the very minimum 1 360. That's going to make sure
Mhm.
that you have the ability to actually make turns. Now, if you do this same thing and you're spinning 2 3 times, that's where you're maybe like, okay, that's I'm not I'm having it might you might have trouble actually staying on target, right? That's the
Mhm.
idea. But fiddle around with it, see how it goes. It's not a hard and fast science.
You're mine now. My ultimate is good to go. Systems hack.
Okay, looked like I don't know if we're trying to hack Genji or not Genji, Soldier or Junkrat here. I think maybe we're trying to hack Soldier, or we should be trying to go for Soldier because Soldier's lower health. I don't think it matters an insane amount, but Soldier's lower, maybe easy to kill.
Systems hack. I was. Enemy here.
Once again, make sure we're just going for the shots, not just hacking.
Mhm.
Just hacking's not going to be doing a whole lot.
Hack complete.
Okay. What do you maybe so part of self-improvement is looking to identify mistakes on your own as well. Do you maybe identify a mistake here, and I'll give you the rough ballpark.
No,
Good.
um I didn't kill Junkrat when he was
Mhm.
ulting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Right. Junkrat's standing still. Someone who's standing still, pretty easy to kill, right? So,
Mhm.
this could either be two things. Either we didn't notice him, in which case that is awareness, not seeing or hearing that he's there, he's ulting. Or two, even if we did, like, usually I tend to think that's probably the issue. And then two would maybe be like us seeing and then ignoring it, which I would hope isn't the case. And if it is, then we just gotta make sure that we're consciously making that decision to go and shoot
Mhm.
him.
They got us outnumbered.
Okay, good kill. Um,
They got us outnumbered.
okay. So my question there is, what is the purpose of that TP out?
I'm not sure. I think I get kind of paranoid sometimes when I'm playing her. So I'm like really really careful.
Hmm.
Which I probably should learn not to be.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
but
So a couple things. Obviously, dying's not good, right? Everybody knows
mhm.
dying's not great. At the same time, you want to be careful because you could be the most survivable person in the game by sitting in spawn the whole game. And yet you're not going to do anything doing that. Now, I'm not saying run into their team and die, but what I am saying is that you want to make sure that we're not backing out with no reason to back out. So something very, very, very simple here to be thinking about is how many people are actually looking at us, looking in our direction. Right now, the answer is no one. Nobody's even looking at you. Orissa's she's starting to look in our direction, but she's looking at the echo behind us. Um, and then not just who's looking at you, but who is shooting at you. And then not just who is shooting at you, but are you even taking damage, or do you have cover you can use? Because you can have people shooting at you and using abilities at you. And if you're dodging and using cover and things like that, you might not need to even get out instantly.
Mhm.
But if you see you're going to get hit by something and you're now in danger, then feel free. Go ahead and do it. But here we're not only not doing it when we're not getting damage, we're also doing we're getting out when they're not even looking at us at all, right? And we're
Mhm.
also we're full HP, they're not looking at us, etc. So probably we could just like chill out here and do a reload and maybe push closer. Junkrat's Soldier's pretty low in there. Maybe possibly get another kill, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Oh, place translocator. Looks like we forgot about that one. Okay, so let's rewatch this. So we forgot to replace translocator, so that's important. This is honestly not too shabby of a time to be EMPing. It's a 3v3, so this is kind of, this is kind of a mini fight after the fight.
Apagando las luces.
But I do see at least one issue with the EMP, and that is that we only get 2 out of the 3 people in it, whereas maybe something simple to get more would have just been to, while invis, just come and stand on top of cart, and then now you get all 3 people, right? Something like that. That might just be a simple way to get more people in your EMP. Also, I might avoid running directly into Junkrat's face. That's probably a recipe to getting exploded. Good kill. Okay. Okay, good recovery. I probably would have maybe like tried to get around Orisa to keep shooting at the BAP since he was low. Okay. Once again, so usually we keep kind of seeing this repetitive. It's not every single time we hack, but I probably say a good chunk of the time we're hacking people. We'll kind of hack and then just leave them be. We've already discussed why you don't want to do that because it's essentially nothing. It's not any value essentially. But on the alternative, what you want to be doing is pretty much immediately decloaking. So so you press the hack button, and as you're decloaking, right? So you press hack and then you start shooting, and then that will decloak you. So let's see, if we hack and then start shooting, it will continue the hack through, and then start shooting immediately after we're done hacking. So we can just press right click, then left click, and that will make it so that we're immediately exiting our our invis as soon as we're hacking. So hack, exiting, shooting. Right? It's very smooth, fast process. You can exit at any point, so we can hack and then decloak really at any point. We just want to be doing that so we can immediately be following up with damage. Whereas what it looks like is we'll do this and then run around, and then we'll start shooting. Right? It's just much more delayed. You're gonna that's especially gonna start to get punished the higher up you go, because notice that when you're invis, I'm not, and you hack it. Notice how it says detected. They can actually see you while you're hacking. So if the higher up in ranks you go, and they know you have a Sombra, they're just gonna turn around real quick and start shooting in your direction, and then you get decloaked, and then now you're being shot at anyways, right? So you're just kind of giving up your position for free, saying, "Hey guys, I'm over here. I'm behind you," and then it just gives them a lot of unnecessary advantages and takes away your surprise advantage. Whereas if we have the surprise advantage, now they don't know that we're coming, and we can kind of drop on them for free, get a quick attack kill, that sort of thing. So just try to start shooting immediately most of the time.
Okay.
Maybe rare, I would say a couple rare instances where you wouldn't, like if you're intentionally trying to take out a important ultimate or ability.
Ready for battle.
Like, let's say, for example, yeah, I mean, most of the time that's going to be the case.
You're mine now. Systems hacked. Just in case. Heroes never Sistema comprometido.
Okay, Shankar.
You're mine now.
Once again, maybe like just place a translocator somewhere before we're engaging. Good kill.
Always plan an exit. Mucho mejor.
Yeah, those translocators being out of position just kind of keep us out of the fight longer. Good kill. Yep, just very shaky aim. This is what I would say. Which I would say primarily probably comes down to sensitivity. Do you warm up before you hop in the comp?
A little. My friend and I are doing something kind of stupid. Where we just go into practice range for like 5 minutes, and then we go straight into comp.
Mhm.
and because we're trying to get our comp hours
Mm.
like higher, and because last year we were kind of quick play warriors, so
Yeah.
we had a long and a lot of amount of time in quick play, so we're
Yeah.
trying to get our comp hours up.
So let me explain to you the why you should be warming up and the benefits behind it and how you should be warming up. So,
Mhm.
um, the primary reason why warm up is even a thing in the first place is because when you go even like a day, it of course it's worse the longer you go, but if you even really go like a
Mhm.
day without playing the game, overnight your mechanics will start to rust up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Your aim gets a little bit rusty. It's not going to be insanely extreme, but it's a little bit rusty. And the primary reason why you warm up is to kind of get your mechanics unrusted, to get your aim back in the game, to get your blood pumping, to get your aim on point, and then that way, when you get into the game, you're not having to do that while you're playing. Whereas if you're doing that while you're playing, you might just kind of bomb your first game because
Yeah.
you're aiming all over the place. And then there comes in issues where if you bomb your first game, well, sometimes that can kind of put you in like not great mental state for the rest of the day.
Mhm.
Usually it's a good idea to want to win your first game, right?
Yeah.
Or win any games. So it's kind of an unnecessary disadvantage. Um, Now, like I said, the primary purpose is to get your aim warmed up, to primarily focus on your aim. It also is helpful for aim practice as well. If you're warming up, therefore you want to typically do something that's aim intensive. Is the practice range aim intensive?
No.
No, because it's big bots with big hitboxes
Yeah.
walking in straight lines, right? So therefore I might recommend something more aim intensive. So for example, if you're doing in-game options, you have tryhard free for all,
Mhm.
1v1 arena, aim arena, gun game, regular deathmatch free for all. You have a couple different aim training workshop codes you can look for. Outside of game, you can maybe do some aim trainers, and maybe you can do a mix of all of these. But generally speaking, you only need to do it for about like 10 to 15 minutes. So if your DPS queues are going pretty fast, like I don't know how long is it usually taking you to queue up for DPS?
Uh, 3,
3
4
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
maybe warm up for 10 minutes and then do it while you're in queue for another 3 minutes, right? And
Mhm.
then that way your first game isn't going to your aim, at least your aim isn't going to be bombed. Usually the rest of your kit doesn't usually you don't forget how to play the game after a night, but your aim will need a little bit of a refresher after the night. Um
Mhm.
so that would be my recommendation, is to do that consistently and look to just do a little bit something a little bit more intensive for just a hair longer. 10 to 15 minutes isn't that long. Um, yep, makes sense.
Mhm.
La
All
próxima
right.
vez sé más interesante.
And just to check, since we're like kind of halfway through, any questions so far about anything?
No, I understand,
Okay,
like, pretty much everything.
got it.
Hack complete. Feeling much better.
Now this is, I would say at this point, because the fight,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, especially if you've been playing off of this pack the entire time so far, they probably could just come and clear it real quick. So that right here is probably a little bit further away from the fight than this or that. Just not gonna be as good. So a little bit longer, a little bit more dangerous. So I might reposition a hair.
Translocate. locator set. You're mine now.
30 seconds remaining.
Keep it together. We're almost there. Aguas, enemy here.
Mucho mejor.
Just in case. Got an enemy here.
Sterben nicht.
Oh, interesting. That's
Just in
a
case.
good reminder for
Enemy
myself that
here.
you can ping people who are through
Mhm.
walls who have what should we call it, Sonic.
Systems hacked.
Once again, not really gonna do too much if we're just hacking Mercy Midair. The only that doesn't hack her fly, that would only hack her Guardian Angel and her res.
Mhm.
If that's the case, and then if that's the case, she just goes and Guardian Angels or reses right afterwards, anyways. So this is kind of just putting us out of the fight. Also, in terms of who should we be shooting at in this fight, what like in terms of like how easy is a Valking Mercy to kill?
Pretty hard to kill.
Pretty hard to kill. Okay. Maybe if I would be as bold to say, probably like on par with like trying to kill Orisa at the moment. Especially if she's up high in the sky or far away from you and she's not low and you don't have the opportunity for it. Maybe
Yeah.
sometimes if you're like on a sniper or you have like a hit scan ultimate, but
Yeah.
that's not really the case here. So she's
Um,
yeah, good.
I had a little beef with the Mercy. For no reason, we weren't even talking in chat or anything, and I'm not usually that type of person, but I just felt like bullying someone. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Just know that to improve your bullying skills, you can't
Yeah.
really bully people who are a
Okay.
mile away from you, right?
10 seconds.
Yeah, so we're trying, but she's getting healed.
Apagando las luces.
All right. Issue problem. Okay. Second about how do you tell whether or not you've won or lost a fight? Primarily, this will come down to kill feed. What's happening in kill feed? Also, I might recommend sound settings. If you haven't already enabled this, you can enable play sound when enemy eliminated, play sound when teammate eliminated, and this will
Okay.
give you ping sounds when teammates or enemies are eliminated, different sounds for each, and it will also change depending on how many people are eliminated. So back to kill feed. That kill feed is the visual version. That's the audio version of who's up, who's down. Kill feed will also tell you specifically which characters. But generally speaking, if you are up or down 1 to 2 people, that is an advantage or a disadvantage. In which case you play either more aggro or more passive. Then, if you are up or down 2 to 3 people, that is a won fight or a lost fight. In which case, if you've won the fight, you get extra aggro. If you've lost the fight, you get out if you can. If you can't get out, you let them kill you and just reset for the next fight so you don't stagger. And then finally, you don't want to use ults in any won or lost fights. So, as of the current moment, where it is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus a 1, 2, 3. Also, other thing would be like Hog is 1 HP and out in the open. The fact that we've lost, it's just going to be a waste of an ultimate because now we don't have it for next fight. Does that all make sense?
Uh-huh.
Yep. So I would imagine most likely we just Bap dies, Hog dies, and then it doesn't win the fight.
Feeling much better.
Hackeo
Okay.
listo.
I'm cringing a little bit now.
Yeah.
But,
No, so it's you reposition, so that's good. Go ahead.
You're mine now.
Oh, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I scare you?
No, almost.
No vaya a ser que lo necesite.
All right. For this next fight, I may recommend
Mhm.
As well, and as they push forwards, maybe it's going to be a little bit closer to them. Whereas here, the further away they push, the further away you're going to be from them.
Hack complete. Got an enemy here. System hacked. Gotta go.
Mucho mejor.
Watch out for this one.
Yeah. Since they have a Mercy, if Mercy's pocketing stuff, then yes, Mercy's generally the first target to kill. So I do like that now we're kind of focusing Mercy. If there is anybody else, if you have the option, then just no DPS would like also be good options. But yeah, Mercy's a
Got
good
an enemy
selection.
here. You're mine now.
Good kill.
Are we still fighting?
Try to go for the hack earlier because we kind of wait and then that gives her time to pull out a pistol
Pretty
and
much
shoot at us.
systems hacked.
Grab that second. We need when we're going on the minis and we're low health. We need that second one because now we're only half HP.
Aguas. Enemy here.
That means we have a much greater chance of dying and we're gonna be forced out faster. Like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Still waiting on EMP. Always plan an exit.
The payload has reached
Systems hacked.
Okay. So here it looks like we're going for Orisa. Firstly, just watch other people walking in front of your hacks if you're trying to hack people. Also, have you adjusted your hack sensitivity at all?
Mhm.
Yep.
No.
Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with what that does?
Yeah.
Yeah. I might recommend turning that down slightly.
Mhm.
As if you have it at the default of 100, it's just kind of gonna go to maybe whoever's closest rather than whoever you're aiming at. Now you don't want to put it at 10 because then it's gonna be a skill shot and you don't want it to be a skill
Yeah.
shot. But maybe somewhere between like 50 to 80 might be a better range. So
Okay.
that's something I'd consider is putting it more towards the middle so you can pick people out in a crowd.
Systems hacked.
Did that? Do we like jump up into? I think we walk to the left and then we jump up into the trap. That's interesting.
Mhm. I didn't know that that could
Ultimate
happen.
almost charged.
So,
Órale. Just in case.
Okay. Right now yep, there we go. Probably just want to be resetting, trying to find the hack
EMP
spot.
charged.
Third point, you're not gonna have as many great options. But it kind of would especially once they in this not great position. So if they see you come over here, they could probably pressure you pretty easily. Um,
mm,
Under here, once again, pretty easy to get you. Over here would be okay.
mhm.
Because that also gives you easy high ground, which is great.
Over here. Any rusty old man?
Yay! We shot immediately.
Yeah.
Todo listo por aquí. Mucho mejor. ¿Qué tal? Apagando las luces.
So let's see it. They Falc. We pop ults.
Apagando las luces.
Yeah, not too shabby. I think our team over ults though. Especially the coalescence is definitely an over ult.
Mm.
Your ultimate It's possible we could have given it an extra second to see what Genji does with Blade. But I think that was fine usage. It was perfectly fine. We kind of wipe them. Coalescence was too much. Once again, you can hack her out of that, so that's an ability. Like because hack has a lot less value in canceling abilities. It doesn't stop you from using abilities. It just cancels abilities now, right? So you want to be thinking through what abilities, what ultimates can I actually stop it with hack. So that might be a good thing at the start of each round. At the start of each round, you can scan their composition real quick. Team composition dictates play style, how you play the game. Scan their comp. Firstly, you can think through, okay, who's the easiest to hardest characters to shoot at? Who should I, or like, what should my target priority be? You can think through that. That's something to consider. The other thing to consider when you're scanning their team composition is going to be something like which abilities and which ultimates should I actively be looking to cancel during this game. So if you were to scan the enemy team comp real quick, what are abilities and ultimates that you can cancel by using hack? I would say
Well,
to make it simple, I think that there's maybe about 2 that you could do consistently, and that's about it, I think. Yeah.
I don't know if I know that I could cancel out Orisa, but
Mhm.
I was about to say Bastion. Baptiste, I would need my ultimate, I think.
Yeah, for his window, yeah. And you
Uh-huh.
can't, and I don't think you can hack Orisa out of her ult. I think you're talking about her E, is that what you're saying?
Oh, abilities? Oh, okay.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
abilities and ultimates, you're not able to hack Orisa out of
Okay.
her ultimate because
Um,
she has her halt, or her fortify, sorry. She has her fortify the gold up and active when she's ulting, and you can't hack that.
oh really? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, then Baptiste and Orisa,
Yeah, so
like consistently.
Orisa E, and then for Baptiste, what would you be hacking? You'd be hacking like
His
lamp when it comes out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, that's pretty decent. The other thing I would also say is res, right?
Yeah.
That's probably another big one, the big ability that you'd be able to hack consistently. If it were your team, you could hack when ball comes and slams. Really, your team would kind of be a little bit more about like counter dive and not fully necessarily abilities, but you can hack ball out of his slam. You can hack Genji out of his deflect, and when he dives, like when both of them when they kind of dive into your team. You can hack Genji when he's blading. You can hack Moira out of Coalescence
Mhm.
and whatnot. So your team would actually have a lot more options in terms of hacking out of abilities and ultimates, and also hacking when they're getting aggressive, right? Because what's Genji gonna do if he dashes into your team and then now you hack him and he's kind of stuck in your team for a couple seconds?
Mhm.
Okay, that's it. That's an example where that's perfectly fine to be shooting at her there, just because like there's not really you were just kind of farming ult, and that wasn't really a better target.
Watch out for this one. Systems hacked. Aguas, enemy here.
So here, this is where we can, yeah, probably just decloak like probably a little bit earlier there.
Much better.
Mhm.
That's just no, just the longer we take to get the kill, the longer we're out of the fight.
You're mine now.
Okay, good kill.
¿Dónde vino eso?
Oh,
Tengo que irme. Translocators in place.
probably a top high ground would probably be a bit better, like I said. Also,
Yeah.
I'd wait around for the second. Once again, if you're low HP, you need it on the minis. You need it to come around twice because that gets
Okay.
us healed up all the way. It does. Let's see how much healing does it do. I
Tengo que
think
irme.
is it exactly
Translocators in place.
100? No, it's not 100. Is it just 75? Is that
Mhm.
math? Yeah,
Yeah.
just 75.
Watch out
So
for this one.
yeah, and then I think megas are 250 if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So on the tiny ones, you gotta wait for 2 of them.
Ultimate is charging up.
Systems compromised.
75 is less than what I thought it was, but alright. Once again, just uh-oh. Once again, just not on how it's the same thing that I said before. And then here,
30 seconds.
I don't think this is really our fault. We kind of like turn the corner and immediately get hit, I think, on accident.
No vaya a ser que lo necesites. Think you're nervous?
Even that right there, like if you're gonna be taking high, just place it a little bit closer to like even if you're not placing on health pack. Let's say you don't know it's there. I would just put it more like right around this corner. That way you're just closer than this, which this just puts you further away from re-engaging. All right. Let's leave. We are now going to do a quick wrap-up review and main points. Probably could have started like a minute or two ago, but it's okay. Any questions before we get started on this?
In my room,
No.
there are no.
All right. Abilities. Hack. Look to hack. Don't just hack to hack. Hacking to hacking is not a thing anymore. Used to be a little bit of a thing. Now it's not really. So just look to hack what you're shooting at and what your team's shooting at. Don't, and then also actively think through what abilities and ults can you look to hack and cancel. Then translocator, just think through kind of your cycle. Look to usually, not always, place it. Oh, I just fell off the map. Look to place it on health packs usually. Then make sure that you're putting in a safe position. Try to place it as close to the fight while still being safe as possible, because you want to be back in the fight fast. Megas are better than minis. Minis are better than nothing. Wait for 2 minis when you use them. Yeah, try to think about where is the fight, not just where is the fight at now, but also where's it going to be, and set up for those positions. Make sure you're replacing it every time you come out. That's mostly it. Cloak, pretty fine. The most big thing I say is just like engage after you hack someone. So like decloak so you can start shooting at people. You don't need to press left shift, you just need to press shoot, and that'll cancel it. That'd be the biggest thing I say there. Overall, I'd say abilities, kind of you want to work on your cycle a little bit more and just getting in and out as fast as possible to be doing more as much as possible. Another thing I would say, very off topic, but I did like that you're using your pings to ping who you were shooting at. That was great. That's what you want to be doing. Communicating if you want to, if possible, but ping is the next best option. And still you might even want to be doing that both combined or whatever. But overall abilities, I'd say probably go to medium priority for you to work on, or such, or something like that. Maybe higher end of that. Then comes your ult. Ult's not too shabby. Make sure you're not using it in won or lost fights. Make sure you're trying to get as many people in it as possible. That's about it. I don't think there's too many bad ults that I saw. Overall, though, probably like a low to medium priority for you to work on. Then comes your positioning. Positioning. Good positioning is the usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Look to take high grounds whenever possible. Translocators on high grounds are fantastic. That means that you're able to constantly have high ground and drop on top of them and behind them. Besides that, I think you did pretty solid in positioning. Yeah, I'd say most of it came down to kind of like translocator positioning and kind of how you're setting up your cycle. Overall, it's kind of like a medium priority for you to work on. Then comes your mechanics. I kind of skipped mechanics, I think. Mechanics, consider maybe lowering sensitivity, warm up 10-15 minutes in a high intense aim game mode or whatever. Then besides that, think through target priority, which we actually did start to do a lot better later on in the game, but kind of early on we were shooting at the Orisa a lot. So just be careful. Usually, generally speaking, DPS in sports first, tanks last, just generally speaking, and then even DPS in sports kind of up in the air. Yeah, and then that overall went to, and then just make sure in there doing things as much as possible. Overall, that one probably a medium, maybe higher end of medium, but I'd probably say medium. Then comes your awareness. Awareness is paying attention to your surroundings. Where is my team at? Where's the enemy team at? What's happening in kill feed? 1 to 2 is an advantage or disadvantage. 2 to 3 is a won or lost fight. If you've won the fight, get extra aggro. If you lost the fight, get out if you can. If you can't, let them kill you. And then don't use ults in won or lost fights. Pay attention to what's the enemy's health bars at. Pay attention to your audio cues, and all the other odds and ends within all of those. Um, Overall, also, you should be pressing tab at a very minimum once between every single fight, because that gives you a lot of info, like what characters are they on, what are we on, what ults do we have, and like I was saying before, team comp dictates how you're playing, so you want to pay attention to team compositions.
Mhm.
Overall, that one was maybe like higher end of a medium, something like that. Um, and then yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with just yeah. I don't think there's anything in your kit that was super over the top. This is atrocious, and there's nothing that was
Okay.
super fantastic. Like it was a lot of the mediums. The mediums. That's not a bad thing. For it to all
Mhm.
be mediums, it's just a thing that happens, right? It's just a little bit of everything. So to put that all in order for you, number one is going to be your probably awareness. Just I guess, you know what? Just, I think there's the most stuff in awareness, but honestly, I think I'm just gonna put a ability usage there because hopefully that'll be slightly easier to implement, and honestly, I think a little bit higher value as well. So I'm gonna put ability usage number one, then awareness, then mechanics, then positioning, and then finally ult usage, kind of as the last note. Still some things to work on with that. Apologies, I forgot to mention the application process, and we're at the end of our session. So to really quickly summarize, how do you put these things into action? Make sure that you are actively focusing on the thing you're trying to work on. And obviously, I gave my recommendation. Don't try to do everything all at once. Pick
Okay.
one category, which would, like I said, be the abilities. And then if it's too big of a category, narrow it down 1 to 3 things. And then, yeah, just intensely focus on it as you're playing through. Don't autopilot. And then that'll form as a habit if you do that for a long enough period of time. Any questions?
No.
Alrighty. So,